Well, it's just after 7 a.m. and I survived my first night shift as a Skidsteer operator. In some ways it was better than I expected. I was actually nervous, driving down there. It's all dark and I'm driving in by myself. But there were only about like 10 guys. A rock truck guy, a wheel loader guy, a couple of excavators, and a few skid steer guys. So my job was fuel. I was fueling just regular stuff, fueling generators, light towers, frost fighters. And these frost fighters, man, they are thirsty. I had to refuel them again at around 5 a.m. because they were all like around 50%, whereas I filled them up completely at 8 p.m. And so in 9 hours, they burned half of the tank. They burned a lot of fuel. Then I also, they asked me to move a light tower, just using the forks, just carry the collapsed light tower generator into a different location. And then I also moved a roll of insulation, like probably, 12 feet wide roll. And time flew like pretty fast until midnight, and then midnight we had a lunch, like meal. And I brought yesterday I went to the Indian restaurant, and I asked him when I finished my meal, I said, can I also get a takeout? And they gave me this nice beef vindaloo, like very nice meat, tender, 100%. And I kept it in my Jeep, so it was cold. And then they allowed us to use the main office for lunch, because there's only a few of us, and there was a microwave there. So I warmed up the beef, and it was amazing. I just ate, just meat, nothing else. And then after that, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, then towards 3, you start feeling, your body starts feeling that it's not the daytime, And so we're supposed to have 3 breaks. One 15-minute break in the first part of the shift. Then, of course, we have the meal break or lunch break, whatever, 30 minutes. And then there's another 15-minute break in the second part of the shift, right? And so I decided I combined these 2 small ones, and I told one of the supervisors, I said, if it's okay, at 3 o'clock, I'm going to take a 30-minute break. And they said, okay. And so I parked my skid steer, got inside my car, reclined the seat almost horizontally, started the engine, turned on the heat in the seat, and set up my alarm on the phone for like 3:30. And of course, you cannot fall asleep right away, but after like 5 minutes, probably I started nodding off, and then I woke up. Then I went to sleep again, and then 3:27, somebody knocks on my door. Sergei, it's one of the supervisors. Sergei, we need you to move a roll of insulation. I'm like, holy moly, yes. I'm gonna do I'm gonna go down to the lobby. I'm gonna ask him for a piece of paper, and I'm gonna type. They have a computer there. Or actually, I can do it on my own computer. Just email them and ask them to print it out. Like hotels do this. And I'm just gonna do a letter-sized piece of paper. Say on break, 3 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. Do not knock on doors. but it really helped, you know. This little nap, maybe total of, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. I really felt better. So 4 o'clock, 5, and then somewhere like around 5:30, you start, you know, you start yawning like crazy, and but 6:15, 6:30, we already started packing the machines, and the shift ended at 7. I signed out as people were already coming in for the day shift. So actually I felt pretty good, you know. So now I'm done with work. I can go home, relax, even though it's crazy upside down, you know. But one cool thing about this night shift is that, you know, so there's no people. Everything is dark except occasional light hours, so it's very quiet. You know, nobody bothers you. We all had radios this time. And the only two big machines that sometimes were in the way were a rock truck and occasionally a big wheel loader, right? Because like when I was carrying that big roll of insulation, well, actually the rock truck had to stop to let me pass because I had nowhere to go. Or of course, if I was carrying the tank, I had to go on the side to let the rock truck or wheel loader pass. Oh, and so that was, but other than that, it was very easy because there's no people, no traffic, you're all by yourself, you know. It's a bit weird. It felt like you're somewhere on Mars, you know, like on a different planet. No animals, no birds singing, nothing. And it started like -4 Celsius. And then around 2 or 3 o'clock, it started falling down. Around 3 o'clock, I think it was already -10, then -12. So I had to put another coat. I went to my car, got another coat. But the most difficult part that I learned about this is, you know, the Skidsteer, right? It has these 2 huge lights on the top and 2 lights on the back. So you would think that at night it would be, you know, kind of like as if you have those powerful, what they call them, projectors, you know, not projectors, but you know what I mean, like powerful lights. But as soon as you pick, like, yeah, when you're by yourself, you can probably see, I don't know, like 5-7 meters ahead. That's it. They just go down. They don't, not like in a car, you know, where you can see much further, right? Like these lights, they just pretty much shine on the road in front of you. And so as soon as I hooked up the tank to start, you know, filling up all these generators, the tank was white. And when I tried to carry it like normally, you know, just maybe 8 inches off the ground, I could not see anything past the tank because the tank was white. It was reflecting all the light from the Skidsteer headlights. And I'm like, man, I cannot drive like this, you know, I'm gonna hit something. And so I decided the only solution was either drive backwards or raise the tank, you know, to the level so I can see, you know, basically just above my forehead, you know. And I asked one supervisor if it's okay. I said, there's no lines, right? There's no power lines, there's no bridges. And I'm watching it, it's tilted, it's not going anywhere. But I said, I cannot see otherwise. And they said, yeah, that's okay. And so that's how I was carrying the tank, probably the 2.5 meter height, because there was no other way. Like that was the only nuisance I discovered, that it's the headlights on the Bobcat, at least, I don't know about John Deere, but on this Bobcat T770, the headlights are totally useless. Even when you're empty, like, right, you're supposed to be able to see, but they're so short-sighted, you know, because they just go really into the road, hard to see. But once you hook up a load like a bucket, I mean, not a bucket, like a tank, it's impossible unless you raise it, you know. But other than that, it was the time went by for some reason faster than during the day shift. I don't know. And so it was not as hard as I thought it would be. And that nap at 3 o'clock really helped. So I told the supervisor again, I said, we have 3 breaks. I combined the 2 small ones into 30-minute breaks. I said, please let me rest at 3 a.m. Okay, 3 to 3:30, please. I need to take a nap, okay? And the guy says, okay. So hopefully tomorrow nobody will be knocking on my door. So that's it. So now I am gonna take a shower, go to bed, sleep probably until 2 o'clock, I don't know. Then go have lunch, and then play my accordion, and then get ready for the shift, because I have to leave at like 6:15, 6:30 to be on site at 7. And then, so 2 more nights. But of course, day shift is easier, but night shift is pretty interesting too. So all in all, it was an interesting experience, you know. I'm glad I agreed to do it. Thanks for watching. Well, I decided to add to my video because I went to this Indian restaurant where I usually go to, and I was trying to upload the video, but you know, kind of like my impressions about the graveyard shift, and it was super slow, like, I don't know, 5%, 50 minutes remaining. I don't know what's going on. I was using my phone. But anyway, so I started reading comments on my previous videos, and one guy says about that Italian expensive accordion. Remember, I was trying to sell it for like 2 years and finally sold it to a guy in Ukraine. And one guy writes in Russian, he says, man, how many of these go around? I just saw this guy Pavel in Kiev sell the same accordion to a guy in US. And I'm like, holy moly, that's my accordion. So I went to his channel, and sure enough, he's doing like series 1, series 2, unpacking, unboxing, and his whole channel is dedicated to, you know, accordions, like these specifically Russian style accordions. And so each video got like 50,000 views, you know, because when I was trying to market it on my channel, even I did a video in Russian, there was no interest, you know. But this guy, because he has a dedicated channel, and right away people are asking, what's the price? What's the price? And he writes, sold. The accordion has been sold. So, and I was asking him, I said, are you gonna keep it for yourself, because he's a pretty good musician, or are you gonna sell it? And he's like, I'm not sure yet. And I could feel that he was not entirely truthful. But one thing I wanted to say, what really, you know, what kind of like pissed me off is that he was bargaining, he was negotiating like very hard, you know, when we were talking about the price, you know, stressing that, you know, like he offered me $2,000 US, right? Like I paid, what was it, like 4,500 US or 6,500 Canadian. So he was offering me half the price of the new one for an accordion that was in perfect condition and less than 1 year old. And when I asked him that, I said, that's too little, you know, like you're just giving me less than 50%. It was actually less than 50%. And he kept saying that, but you know, we have a war, you know, we have a war going on, and $2,000, it's a lot of money. I would have to borrow from my brother. And I said, no, $2,000, I'm not selling it for that because I need to buy another one, right? I laid my eye on this Roland accordion, which was like 3,000 Canadian, so it's like 2,300 US. And so finally this guy relented and he says, okay, I'll give you $2,300. And then I had to pay, that's US, and then I had to pay about $200 for shipping to Ukraine. And the wire transfer, so he did not throw me under the bus, so he paid me, but the wire transfer cost me like another 75 bucks Canadian, so like 50 bucks US. So basically, out of this $2,300, I lost $250. And now I'm reading this comment that the guy says the accordion has been sold to a buyer in US, which is kind of like funny, right? I've been trying to sell that stupid accordion here in Canada, and US is right next door. And instead, I had to ship it to Ukraine via this, super crooked ways because there's no straight flights. And the guy ended up selling it. And he kept mentioning the war and how they are poor, that he cannot pay me more. We just show you, which is just another illustration about the human condition. And by the way, after the war started, he switched all his videos to Ukrainian because, they started boycotting the Russian language. But now these last two marketing videos, selling Italian Dinamo 50, he did in Russian because, of course, that opens up a much bigger market because most Ukrainians speak Russian, and then plus you have the entire Russia, right? It's just, why do you have to, negotiate like that, So I feel a bit upset about this whole deal with the accordion. So somebody made money citing, how poor they are and that the war is going on, So Ukrainians are smart.